Hello there you guys, welcome to another of my live videos. So more additional information to give you guys an update on in regards to Matthias de Ligt, as he have been updating you on a regular basis. So more things was updated about him anyway. So according to me, quite a few reports today in the media, they basically said that Matthias de Ligt has come up with two transfer demands, and these are actually two demands that Manchester United can meet. So the first demand, obviously Matthias de Ligt is requiring more money, and the second demand, he wants first team football guaranteed, and definitely Manchester United, are willing to obviously, meet what his agent Riley Ola is demanding and all that, and obviously Manchester United as well can assure him first team football, and obviously, these are two demands, of course, that Barcelona cannot meet, because obviously Barcelona are reluctant, to increase their offer. Barcelona are not willing to meet what his agent Riley Ola and that is demanding, and obviously, if he was to go to Barcelona as well, they couldn't assure him first team football, because obviously, Barcelona have got the likes of Gerard Piqué as their first team starter. Obviously, they've got the likes of Samuel Umtiti, and I think they've also got someone else as well in that back line. So he wouldn't be assured, first team football at Barcelona, but he would definitely get first team football at Manchester United. But Manchester United, as we all know, we've blatantly made it clear, we're willing to outbid any other team, to currently get the players' services. He did say Manchester United are willing to offer him a contract, worth up to £350,000 a week. Obviously, this equates to almost £17 million a year, of course. So if this was to actually, process, this would make, obviously, Matthias de Ligt the highest paid teenager in world football. Of course, as well, it would make him one of the highest paid players at the club. And obviously, this is a figure that Barcelona, of course, are not willing to currently meet. So Manchester United are willing to meet what de Ligt's demanding, what his agent Riley Ola is demanding, but obviously, Barcelona are not willing to meet what the players demanding and what his agent Riley Ola, of course, is demanding. So it didn't literally say, was it yesterday or the day before, that talks had currently stalled, between Barcelona and de Ligt, because obviously, they couldn't come to an agreement on the terms. So I think now initially Barcelona, of course, have opted out of the race. So I think now Manchester United have got the advantage to get a deal over the line for Matthias de Ligt. So yeah, we're willing to offer him £350,000 a week. Obviously, Matthias de Ligt, I think, would be happy to definitely accept this, because maybe from his own perspective, that's a contract offer that's basically too good to turn down. We know, as like I said, Manchester United can't offer him Champions League football for next season. Obviously, if he went to Barcelona, they could offer him Champions League football for next season. But like I said, I don't think he's too bothered about Champions League football, Matthias de Ligt. I think he's still determined to join Manchester United, even though the club can't offer him Champions League football for next season. So in terms of transfer fees, Matthias de Ligt is going to cost you around 65 or 70 million pounds, and it did come out a couple of days ago saying that Manchester United had offered him around 70 million pounds, of course. And yeah, so this is what is initially valued at is Matthias de Ligt, but it's looking very, very imminent. Imminent that he is going to be leaving Ajax. It's still not fully certain, where he will be applying his trade next season, but I do believe now Manchester United are in the ascendancy. But there has been quite a lot of teams that have inquired about his services, of course. Obviously, City have inquired about his services. They're looking for the replacement for company. Obviously, we do know that Liverpool, of course, have inquired about his services. Now the media is speculating that PSG now have entered the race for Matthias de Ligt. I think also Bayern Munich have been interested in him before. And obviously, we do know a lot of teams have been in for him, but we do know at least in the last couple of months that obviously, Barcelona have been in the ascendancy, to get a deal over the line for Matthias de Ligt. Obviously, it came out, was it last week, from Sky Sports saying that, they suggested out saying that, Matthias de Ligt is set to join Barcelona. Matthias de Ligt had currently made an admission, and I think he did say his preferred destination, of course, was Barcelona. Obviously, Barcelona have already got a deal over the line for his current teammate, Frankie de Jong. Obviously, I think Barcelona paid around was it £65 million for him, and maybe, Matthias de Ligt, wanted to reunite with his current teammate. But since Manchester United have come up with this improved contract offer, it has been a change of scenery, indeed. And like I did say, I think there's a lot of credibility in these stories, about Matthias de Ligt, without a shadow of a doubt, a lot of credibility in these stories. And I started to believe it a lot more, when Gerard Mario came out, was it about 3 days or 4 days ago now, a very reliable Spanish journalist, and he said Manchester United are very close to signing Matthias de Ligt. So yeah, he's been subjected to a lot of transfer speculation. He has been widely spoken about in this window. So yeah, Manchester United now could have the advantage, to get a deal over the line for him. But like I said, he's been absolutely fantastic for Ajax. He's been an Ajax player since the age of 9. I think he's become an integral part of Ajax's squad. Obviously, making his senior debut at just the age of 16, so he's had 3 years worth of experience in Ajax's senior squad. And like I said, he can leave Ajax with his head held up high. Obviously, captaining them to a domestic double for actually the first time in 17 years. Of course, winning the Eredivisie title for the first time since 2014, and of course progressing to the Champions League semi-final. So Ajax have had a really, really good season. I think also Matthijs de Ligt is the only defender to win the Golden Boy Award. I think he won this actually last year, if I'm right, and he actually became more of a first team start with Ajax when Davinson Sanchez left back in 2017. So yeah, so that's been the breaking news today going on about Matthijs de Ligt. He has come out with 2 transfer demands according to a lot of media outlets, and obviously these are 2 demands Manchester United can meet. We're willing to meet. We're willing to meet, what de Ligt's demanding, what his agent Raiola is demanding in terms of the money and that. And obviously, Manchester United can show him first team football, which is very, very good. So he wants more money, does Matthijs de Ligt. Manchester United are willing to, pay that. And of course, he wants a guarantee. He wants first team football guaranteed. So yeah, could be on his way to Manchester United. So that is really, really good news. Like I said, he's only 19 years of age. He's got a hell of a lot of development in him. Like I said, he's going to fit Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's transfer strategy, of course, because obviously Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has blatantly made it clear he wants to sign young players, of course, as well. So this is really, really good news indeed. Like I said, we need a central defender because that's one of the priority areas, where Manchester United are lacking, of course. And I actually believe that we need 2 central defenders, to be quite honest with you. But obviously, as we all do know, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, he's working on, bringing players who he thinks are good enough, to represent Manchester United. And that obviously, de Ligt is definitely, one of them. And obviously, as well, he's working on, trying to keep his imperative players at Manchester United. Because obviously, we do know we need a massive overhaul this summer. Obviously, we're getting a spending spree of around £250 million. Solskjaer wants to bring at least 5 new additions to the club. Obviously, I think probably about 4 players are expected to leave Manchester United this summer, maybe even 5 players. But another problem with Manchester United, we have let far too many players' contracts run down. So obviously, that's also, been an issue. But obviously, our first signing, obviously, is going to be Daniel James from Swansea, as you all know. His transfer to Manchester United is set to be announced sometime this week. His transfer is set to be announced sometime this week, of course. Obviously, the initial fee of £15 million has been agreed, with add-ons included, so that's going to rise it to £20 million. So obviously, he's going to be the club's first signing, is Daniel James. So yeah, I always like the transfer windows and stuff. They're really, really exciting indeed. But I'd be really, really, happy, if we can get, Matthijs de Ligt. But obviously, nothing's been finalised as yet. But what's come out today with these 2 demands he's come out with, this could give Manchester United a significant boost to get a deal over the line for Matthijs de Ligt. We've definitely got the financial power, of course, to meet his valuation. But I really, really like him indeed. But a lot of teams have been in there for me. I think he's been one of the most players that have been spoken. I think he's one of the most players that have actually been talked about hell of a lot in this current window. And other news to give you guys an update on, as I updated you on my last video as well, is in regards to Romelu Lukaku. Now, it's definitely looking imminent that he's going to be leaving Old Trafford, Romelu Lukaku. Now, obviously, we do know an initial fee has not come to an agreement yet, between Manchester United and Inter Milan, of course. That could be I think that could be the stumbling block at this moment, obviously. At this present time, I think, that could be the stumbling block, the initial fee. Because actually, Manchester United want around £62 million for him, and maybe Inter Milan are reluctant to pay up to £62 million for Romelu Lukaku, because I think Inter Milan, from their perspective, initially rate Romelu Lukaku at around £55 million. But like I said, we do know that reportedly Lukaku has agreed a 5-year deal with Inter Milan. I think it's a 5-year deal worth around £37.5 million, obviously over 5 years. Obviously per year, that's like £7.5 million. I think also, these bonuses included as well. But he has agreed a 5-year deal. Obviously, as well, the terms have been agreed, as you all know. But obviously, an initial fee has not yet, obviously, come to an agreement. But potentially, Lukaku is destined, to make the move to Italy anyway, because he was talking a lot about Italy, a while back, about his dream, to play in the Serie A. Obviously, as it did confirm that he's been to Italy, he's Romelu Lukaku. He flew out to Italy, and he's obviously, held negotiations with Inter Milan's representatives. So that's been officially confirmed. The deal has been agreed. I think also Romelu Lukaku is willing to take a pay cut as well to make the move to Inter Milan, because I think he's on, some people think he's on 170 odd grand a week at Manchester United. No, he's actually on £250,000 a week with Manchester United. He's Romelu Lukaku. But like I said, it will be beneficial, of course, if we can cash in for him. But we do know Manchester United have got an history of spending big on players. We've got an history of spending big on players. Obviously, especially in recent years, Lukaku 75 million, Paul Pogba, of course, 89 million pounds. And like I said, it doesn't always guarantee you success, as you all know. And like I did say, at least in the next couple of seasons, our aspirations is going to be, fighting for that top four. Like I said, I think we're at least 3 or 4 years off, for mounting any kind of title challenger. But it depends what recruitment, who we get in this summer and how we're going to be with our recruitment. Are we going to be sensible with it? Are we going to be, mad with our recruitment? Because some people say we should be sensible with our recruitment because there's a lot of players out there for the reasonable figure. But we've definitely got to be, we've got to get the right recruitment because our recruitment policy is very, very poor. Obviously, we didn't get anyone in January. We didn't get his number one targets last summer. So yeah, so I think it'll be beneficial anyway. If we can cash in for Romelu Lukaku. So basically, Manchester United, we are looking to recruit the majority of the money. What we paid for him from Everton a couple of years ago. Obviously, Inter Milan are set to appoint Antonio Conte as their new manager, to replace Luis Spell at Inter Milan. And obviously, Antonio Conte has identified Romelu Lukaku as his number one target. But like I said with Lukaku, he enjoyed the difficult second season with Manchester United. We know mainly, Rashford there was first choice ahead of him and that. Lukaku didn't replicate what he did in his first season with the club because I think he was in scintillating form in his first season with Manchester United. Obviously, he scored 27 goals in all competitions. And we know mainly that Rashford there was obviously, been first choice ahead of him anywhere. Like I said, Solskjaer's blatantly told him that, told Lukaku that he's surplus to requirements at Manchester United. But he has still got 3 years left on his contract with Manchester United as Romelu Lukaku. So I think they still are going to be, they are in negotiations, they're still negotiating about a current fee. Obviously, they've got to come to an agreement on a fee, of course, to fully finalise it. But apart from the fee, everything else, of course, has been currently agreed. But it did currently, basically, it did currently say that Inter Milan, were willing to offer, £30 million, plus Perisic as part of the deal to get, obviously, Romelu Lukaku. But obviously, Manchester United are not willing to go along with this because obviously we know Ivan Perisic is no longer a Manchester United target, as you all currently know. Obviously, it was a long-term target under Jose Mourinho, was Ivan Perisic, of course, and obviously the main factor reason why we didn't get him, because obviously we're not willing to meet Inter Milan's £48 million asking price. This is why we didn't get Ivan Perisic under Jose Mourinho, but obviously he's no longer a Manchester United target, so obviously, we're not willing to go along with that. Obviously, Icardi got mentioned, but obviously, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer doesn't want Icardi. So yeah, I think we just basically want around £62 million for them. But I said with Lukaku, I've got strong reservations about him. He's 26 now. I thought he was still 25, but he's 26 now. When it comes to his first touch, his footballing ability, his finishing, his finishing, his footballing ability, his link-up play. I've got strong reservations about Romelu Lukaku, and I just don't think he's got that endless potential. Definitely not reliable enough, Has demonstrated that he can perform a bit better, when he does get that support up front, he can look a bit more effective than Romelu Lukaku, but for me, he's too inconsistent, and we definitely do need to cash in for him. So definitely, his likely destination is now going to be into Milan, but they need to come to an agreement on a fee. But a 5-year deal has been agreed, as I said. So that is really, really good news indeed. And other news, I've been giving you an update on them as well. I think I mentioned him on the last video. It's about Harry Maguire from Leicester now. Obviously, he's a potential Manchester United and Manchester City target, is Harry Maguire. But I think, to be quite honest with you, Leicester have priced him out of the market now, because I think it came out, was it last week? I think it was last week, or it might have been... was it last week, or it might have been sometime over the weekend? Anyway, it did basically say that Leicester have reportedly want around £90 million for Harry Maguire. And to be quite honest with you, we do know that Man United and Man City have got the financial power to meet that £90 million valuation. But in my own opinion, I don't think Harry Maguire is worth £90 million. And I think Manchester United know that. I think also Manchester City also know that, because I think Manchester City have identified Harry Maguire as their number one target to replace Vincent Kompany. I do really, really like Harry Maguire, don't get me wrong, but I just don't. I think he's a good player, but I just don't think he's worth £90 million. He's not a Van Dijk, he's not a Koulibaly, he's not a Rafael Varane from Real Madrid, or is it Harry Maguire? But he's definitely not worth £90 million. So Leicester blatantly made it clear, if Man United and City want him, basically got to break the world transfer record. But he is 26 years of age, Harry Maguire. He's still in his prime. He's still got a hell of a lot of development in him. He's also very tall. Obviously, United and City as well have got the financial power to currently double his wages. Obviously, he signed a new long-term contract with Leicester last summer, so he's in the contract with Leicester until 2023, because obviously he signed a new 5-year deal last summer. So of course he's also been on Manchester United's agenda. I would take him at Old Trafford, but I think £90 million is actually too extortionate, for Harry Maguire, because I don't think he's worth £90 million in my opinion. So obviously there's been a lot of talks about him going on. I do believe we need new additions in that midfield as well, and obviously we need a replacement for Pogba. We need a replacement for Herrera. I think we need a holding midfielder as well. And, talking about Paul Pogba, his move now is looking very, very imminent away for Manchester United. It's looking very imminent that he's going to be going to Real Madrid. Like I said, it hasn't been fully finalised as yet, because obviously a fee has not been come to an agreement. Obviously, they are still negotiating about a fee. But as you all know, the stories broke out yesterday. According to a very reliable Spanish journalist called Eduardo Inda, he said Pogba to Real Madrid is practically done. He's practically done. As I said, the fee has not been agreed as yet, but reportedly I think Paul Pogba has agreed the massive pay cut. So obviously his wages are set to reduce by about £3 million. So his wages are set to reduce from £13 million a year to £10 million a year. So his wages do drop, like I said, by about £3 million. Because we do know he's been on Real Madrid's agenda, for quite some time now. Obviously it's Zinedine Zidane's number one target. Well, his two main targets, of course, are Paul Pogba and Chelsea's Eden Hazard. But like I said, Paul Pogba is he's destined to make the move to Real Madrid. I think from Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's perspective, though, I think he's trying to do everything to convince Paul Pogba to stay at the club, because I think Paul Pogba knows how much of an imperative player Paul Pogba is. But obviously Manchester United can't offer Paul Pogba Champions League football for next season. Obviously Real Madrid can offer him Champions League football for next season, and maybe he wants to go to Madrid, because he wants to be winning trophies, wants to be challenging, wants to be in Champions League football, and obviously Manchester United cannot offer Paul Pogba this. Obviously Manchester United paid £89 million for him. Obviously he hasn't really been the fundamental player. He hasn't really exceeded expectation levels, as we all thought he would have done, of course, regarding what he did in his 4 years with Juventus, because he did have 4 good years in Turin, but he hasn't really replicated that form at Manchester United. We mainly did see the best of Paul Pogba, when Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was the interim manager in his first 3 months. Paul Pogba was in a really, really good form when Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was the interim manager. But like I said, in last season, his last 8 or 9 games of last season, I think his performances were below par. He was so inconsistent with Paul Pogba. But he did say last week Solskjaer was set to offer Paul Pogba the captain's armband. It did say Solskjaer was set to offer, Paul Pogba the captaincy, to convince him to stay at the club. Well, it initially was the captain's armband, but then obviously there was a change of scenery, because obviously Ashley Young is going to be the captain next season. Is going to be given to Ashley Young. So it did initially say then, Man United willing to offer him the vice captaincy role. But like I said, this isn't going to be enough to convince him to stay. Obviously Paul Pogba still got 3 years left on his contract with Manchester United. Like I said, 3 years on his contract. I mean, Man United have been in negotiations of trying to get him a new contract. There's still reports circulating out saying that Juventus are interested in re-signing him. Obviously, it came out, about 2 or 3 days ago, saying that Juventus were willing to sacrifice 2 of their players, to lure Paul Pogba away from Old Trafford. And it did say they're willing to offer Paul Dybala and Alexandro as part of the deal, of course. But I don't think Manchester United would be willing to go along with this. Initially, Manchester United don't want to sell Paul Pogba, but I think initially we wanted around £160 million. That was the quoted fee. But I think Real Madrid are reluctant to pay up to £160 million for Paul Pogba. So I think now, according to this Spanish, a lot of Spanish outlets and this Spanish journalist and all that, basically reportedly a fee between 137 and £150 million is being negotiated. So I think Zinedine Zidane has basically persuaded, Paul Pogba to basically, put a transfer request in, to make his move to Real Madrid. So it's looking very, very imminent indeed. And like I said, it will help us with our transition if we can cash in for him anywhere. It's going to be hard for us to find a player of Paul Pogba's calibre and level, but like I said, with 106, say we get 135 or 145 million or 140 for him, we could potentially get at least 2 players with that money anywhere. But like I do keep saying, I think the good adequate replacement for Paul Pogba, would be Bruno Fernandes from Sporting Lisbon. I really, really like Bruno Fernandes. Like I said, he's been on Manchester United's agenda, for quite some time now. Obviously, Manchester City, of course, have inquired about his services. I would say City are emerged as the front runners, to currently get a deal over the line for Bruno Fernandes. I think City want to wrap up a deal for him of around £40 million. I've heard a couple of times that City have stalled their move for Bruno Fernandes, of course. And I hope Manchester United United, can get him, he's really, really good. He's got his physical attributes are very, very good. And I do believe, I don't think he'll remain at Sporting Lisbon, because obviously he wants to, take his career to the next level and take that huge step, of course, in his career, Bruno Fernandes. Maybe he could stay there next season, but obviously he won't be staying there for long term, will, Bruno Fernandes. But Bruno Fernandes did come out and he basically said, he's unsure about his future at the moment. He did say he's had a good couple of years of Sporting Lisbon. He doesn't know if he was spending a third year there yet. He did also come out saying that he's denied having any negotiation with Manchester United over the potential move to Old Trafford. His initial release cost is around 85 or 86 million pounds. It came out a couple of weeks ago that the quoted fee was around 60 million pounds that Sporting Lisbon, currently wanted for Bruno Fernandes. But I really, really like him, primarily an attacking midfielder, so he would be the good replacement for Paul Pogba, would be the right solution for Manchester United. But he's got goals in him, he's got assists in him, his movement's really, really good, he's good on and off the ball, he's just got everything as Bruno Fernandes, and he'd definitely not exceed expectation levels in the Premier League. He's under contract with Sporting Lisbon until 2023. Obviously, he's a former Sampdoria and underneath player, so he had a lot of experience playing in Italy when he was younger, of course. So maybe Bruno Fernandes will be playing his trade in the Premier League next season. Obviously, comparing us and City at the moment, obviously City are strides ahead of us, City on another level to Manchester United. So obviously, the more attractive option for a player of Bruno Fernandes' calibre would be Manchester City for Bruno Fernandes. But recent reports have been saying that City have stalled on their move for Bruno Fernandes. But like I said, 24 years of age, he's got a hell of a lot of years ahead of him, of course. But he's flourished fantastically well at Sporting Lisbon. So yeah, I hope he can come to Manchester United, of course. So I think he'd be the good replacement for Paul Pogba. As you all do currently know, as well as I've been updating you in the last couple of days about, Giovanni Lo Celso from Real Betis. He's obviously, central midfielder, 23 years of age, Argentinian. Obviously, quite a few teams have inquired about his services. Obviously, Manchester United have been in there for him. Obviously, Tottenham have been in there for him. Obviously, we do know City are also interested in him as well. I think also Real Madrid have expressed their interest in, Giovanni Lo Celso. Now, he's 23, as I said. Obviously, if Real Betis, do sell him, obviously, PSG, do currently profit from it. PSG do get a percentage of any sale, if Giovanni Lo Celso, because obviously, Real Betis initially, got him from Paris Saint-Germain last summer. I think it was last summer. Well, initially he was on loan at Real Betis, but obviously Real Betis back in April, made the deal permanent by paying around 19 or 20 million pounds. I think he scored 16 goals in all competitions in this season in La Liga as Giovanni Lo Celso. But now reports have come out saying, like I said, Tottenham have put a bid in for him of around 53 million pounds. His initial release clause is around 88 million pounds, and maybe Real Betis would demand this if they were willing, of course, to let him go, or maybe somewhere in the region of 80 odd million pounds, maybe 70 odd million pounds. But they've come up with a bid of 53 million pounds because Tottenham have inquired about his services. Obviously, Tottenham haven't done any transfer activity in the last couple of windows, so obviously, they want to get a couple of players in this summer. Obviously, Mucho Pochettino, of course, will want back in. Obviously, Tottenham's record signing was Davinson Sanchez, back in 2017 for Ajax. 2017 for Ajax, and I think the last signing they made was back in January 2018. I think that was actually Lucas Moura. So yeah, they've inquired about Giovanni Lo Celso, and he's a central midfield, and also he's on Manchester United's agenda, because we definitely need 3 new additions in that midfield, because that's obviously one of the priority areas, of course, where Manchester United have got to strengthen up. And obviously, other midfielders that have been spoken about, most recently as well, Yuri Tillemans from Leicester. There's quite a few teams in for him as well. Yuri Tillemans is obviously he's had about 5 or 6 months experience under his belt in the Premier League. Only had 22 years of age, of course, so very, very young. Yuri Tillemans. He's only very, very young, Yuri Tillemans, like I said. I think he's initially rated at around £40 million by Monaco, and that's a reasonable figure, of course. I think from Yuri Tillemans' perspective, I think he's intending on making the return back to Monaco at the end of his loan spell with Leicester. But I think City have inquired about his services. They've just entered the race for him. Manchester United have been linked to him, Arsenal have been linked to him. Also, Tottenham have been linked to him as well. So he's been subjected to a lot of transfer speculation as Yuri Tillemans. But looks a pretty decent player, like I said, under contract with Monaco until 2022, but I think from Leicester's perspective, they want to get him on a permanent basis, and I think Leicester have held negotiations with Monaco about this, so he's another potential Manchester United target. But we do know that Manchester United have been linked with a lot of centre defensive midfielders, because like I said again, that's an area we are lacking, and as I said, Scott McTominay at the moment is too inexperienced, even though he demonstrated towards the back end of last season, that he can play well. McTominay, I still think he hasn't really got the experience yet. Obviously, Fellaini left back in January. Obviously, we've got the likes of Nemanja Matic, but like I said, he's not trustworthy enough. Nemanja Matic, he's too slow, he's too ineffective, he's aging up as well as Nemanja Matic. So we definitely need a centre defensive midfielder. So there has been quite a few mentioned. Obviously, Declan Rice has obviously been spoken about before. I'd love Declan Rice at Manchester United. Only 20 years of age, got a hell of a lot of development in him. I think he's exceeded expectation levels well with West Ham, of course, and I think he's done well in the Premier League, and he's well Premier League proven. Initially, learned his trade in the Premier League, did Declan Rice, and initially he did say before that he could be available for around £50 million, but I think he's become an integral part of West Ham's squad, and I think throughout the course of last season he did really, really well under Manuel Pellegrini. So Manchester United, of course, before have inquired about his services. Haven't really heard much about him lately, but he is primarily a centre defensive midfielder. I think he can play as a centre back, but he's actually primarily a central defensive midfielder. So obviously, he's been spoken about, got a contract at West Ham until 2024. So obviously, he's also been spoken about. Obviously, we do know Thomas Partey from Atletico Madrid. Now there was a lot of talks going on about him. Was it last week? I think it was, and I think there's still been talks about him going on up until now. That Manchester United and Arsenal have inquired about Thomas Partey's services. Obviously, he's 25 years of age. Obviously, he has spent the majority of his career over Atletico Madrid. He's available for a reasonable figure. I think his initial lease cost is around £43 million in his contract over Atletico Madrid. He is, like I said, a central defensive midfielder. I think he's got a contract with Atletico Madrid, has he, until 2023. So he's obviously been widely spoken about as well. But Arsenal have been linked to him. Manchester United, of course, have been linked to him. So do you think do you think he'd do very, very well in our midfield? To be quite fair, I don't really know much about the player. Obviously, we do know Idrissa defensive midfielder. Obviously, he's been widely spoken about as well as Idrissa Gueye. Obviously, he's been on Manchester United's agenda, for quite a while. Obviously, again, well Premier League proven. But you can't argue with Idrissa Gueye's stats. Completed the most tackles, completed the most tackles across Europe. One of the most successful tacklers in the Premier League. So you can't argue, with Idrissa Gueye's stats. He did reportedly say that. It did reportedly say that Everton want around £35 million from him. That is the quoted fee. So basically, Everton are demanding, just over 5 times more than what they initially paid for him from Aston Villa, of course. Idrissa Gueye has got 3 years left on his contract with Everton. But yeah, he's a really, really good player, and of course, he's 29 years of age. He is a Senegal international. Obviously, Everton did everything, to keep him away from PSG's clutches back in January, because PSG inquired about his services in January, and I think PSG had 2 bids, turned down for him in January, because I think Everton wanted around £40 million from him in January. But Everton don't initially want to sell him, but I think Everton have come to accept the fact that Idrissa Gueye, of course, does want to depart the club. So he's also, been on Manchester United's agenda. Like as well, as I give you the update about Joe Felix from Benfica. He's not a defensive midfielder; he's primarily attacking midfielder. Is Joe Felix, but obviously Manchester United have been linked to him for a while. I think the rumours have continued to persist. About Joe Felix, of course. Since like January, because he has been subjected to a lot of transfer speculation. I think Man United have actually been scouting the player since January, of course, reflecting on his impressive performances for Benfica. But I think Benfica have actually blatantly made it clear that if they are willing to sell him, his release clause currently has to be triggered, and obviously his release clause is around 100, or is it 105 million pounds? But this is a release clause that Manchester United are willing to currently meet. So we're willing to basically trigger his buyout clause. It's around 100 or 105 million pounds. Only 19 years of age as well, and I do believe he can emulate into one of the best players in the world, can Joe Felix. And yes, I think from his own perspective, I think he's still unsure about his future at the moment. Is Joe Felix? He doesn't know where his future lies, but Benfica said if a team is willing to meet his buyout clause, they are prepared, to currently sell Joe Felix, and that's obviously, if Joe Felix, of course, wants to leave Benfica. It's only been his first season in the senior squad with Benfica, of course. He's obviously not yet made his senior debut for Portugal, but we do know City have inquired about his services. Also, Real Madrid have also, inquired about his services. So obviously we do know that there's been talks about him going on. So there's so many players on Manchester United's agenda, of course, as you all know. But looking at it, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is still in the process of rebuilding this Manchester United team. Obviously, none of this squad's easy. Obviously, a lot of money has been invested into the club, since Alex Ferguson retired. £700 million, 700 million, more than 700 million has been spent, since Alex Ferguson retired. We've had different managers with different philosophies, but you can see there's problems at the club, and there's cultural problems at the club. It's very essential we get a director of football in before the start of next season. That's the structural change that we do currently need. By getting a director of football in, of course, would be ideal to recommend someone who knows the club, someone, of course, as well, who's got the experience. But any signs we do make this summer have got to fit the culture and, of course, the history of the club. But maybe we can still get the players we want, even though we're not in a Champions League football for next season. Because obviously, looking at we're still a massive club historically. We're the biggest club in England historically. Obviously, we've won 13 Premier Leagues and all that. 20 all in all. So yeah, we're still potentially regarded as one of the biggest clubs in the world, even though we've been very inconsistent for the last 5 or 6 years, of course. But regarding these stories about Matthias de Ligt, like I said, I'm really happy about it indeed. And it has basically come out, like I said, he's come out with 2 demands as Matthias de Ligt, and obviously one of the demands is obviously he wants more money. Manchester United are willing to give him that money he's demanding, and of course the second demand is he wants first team football guaranteed. And again, Manchester United can guarantee him first team football, and obviously these are 2 demands that Barcelona cannot meet, because they're not willing to meet what de Ligt's demanding, what his agent Raiola is demanding in the commission and that. And of course Barcelona couldn't assure him first team football, and of course so this could now give Manchester United the advantage to get a deal over the line for Matthias de Ligt, which is very good news indeed. So anyway, guys, and like I said, I think Matteo Darmian should be leaving this summer. Marcus Rojo should be leaving this summer. So an estimated guess, we can get around £30 million for Darmian and Rojo, which is very good. I do obviously we know Valencia is definitely leaving, so we're going to need a replacement for him at right back. Obviously I've already updated you about Sanchez. He should be leaving. Should Alexis Sanchez. Obviously we know Lukaku's definitely leaving. Juan Mata, like I said about him, he's going to be definitely leaving Manchester United. Is Juan Mata. Obviously the club have failed to agree a contract extension. Obviously De Gea as well, it's looking like he's going to be leaving because we haven't got him a new contract as well. So we basically are expected to orchestrate a big summer cloud. But obviously all the players that we do want to leave are not good. Obviously we're not going to be able to address this problem in one window. It's going to take a couple of windows of course to address that problem. So yeah, very good news now coming about Matthias de Ligt, but nothing's been finalised yet, but very good news indeed. These 2 demands, Manchester United can meet them, so this could play a part in him, coming to Manchester United. And I want him to come to United, comes to the Premier League, take his career to the next level, and I think he'll blend in really well alongside Victor Lindelof in our back line. So anyway, guys, drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do consider subscribing as always, and take care. God bless. See you again very soon.